Off the Footy Show.
Melvin Inga, tears from the big man. And here's David Fordham. Oh, tears of joy, pal. I can't believe it. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in football. Well, unbelievable. Is this the greatest moment you've ever had? Yes, by far. By far, best player for Australia, best player for Queensland. This is what it's all about, winning the grand final. Mel, the spirit in that Canberra side in defence in the last 30 or 40 minutes, how do you rate it? Well, that's our best performance this year. Good year, for that matter of fact. I'm glad to come today.
Let's take you down to Wankbears. Well, Graham, Royce Simmons here. Absolute genius game, mate. How does it feel? Mate, only you know, I think footballers know what it means when something like this happens, because you can't describe it to other people who don't, even the loyalist fans, they just don't know what it means. What exactly does this win mean, not only to you, but to the actual Penrith fans, the club, in its 25-year history? You've never won it. What does it mean? Well, we're someone now, mate. We are someone. For a lot of years, the chocolate soldiers that, have never succeeded. We were the chokers. We were the ones who couldn't win a grand final. Now we're someone. We can walk somewhere with our head held high.
Well, Terry Lamb, the fairy tale has unfolded. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it now. These blokes stuck together. They're a great bunch of blokes, these blokes.
When it all boils down to it, you can look at that scoreboard and say 17-4, a 13-point win, but it's defence what it's all about today. The Bulldogs have tackled their hearts out.
We've done it for the last 4 weeks, and that's what we've dug deep, It's just been on our minds all week, just defence.
Terry, I've got to say, you just seem so calm. It's as if you expected this to happen.
Well, I didn't expect it to happen. I think I'll have to start believing in dreams now. Mary Poppins is alive.
Steve Roach is with him now. Here's the chief.
What's that, mate? Sensational feeling. Great effort to come back in that second half.
It's better than our block. It's the best thing that ever happened anyway. I can't believe it. When we left Newcastle, I think most of the boys were in tears. People lined up for 30 k's out of Newcastle. We were down for all money there for a while. It's a couple of these blokes. It's the best thing that ever happened, man. I'm that proud of them.
What about Andrew Johnson involved in the last 2 tries? Decides to run on the short side 20 seconds ago, and you get that try.
That's Joey to a T. He does whatever he wants. He's an absolute player. And he's a dead set champ. He's been in hospital all week. And Blogger, there's nothing you can say.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Congratulations. Good to go to a better bloke.
Thanks very much.
It seems a pandemonium down here. We're going over to try to catch Benji Marshall. Benji, mate, what's going on with that flick pass? You're not supposed to throw those in grand finals. I don't know. How you feeling, mate?
I don't know. Unbelievable. Best moment of my life, and to have my family here from New Zealand is the best part about it.
What about the feeling when you knew you had it in the bag? How'd you feel, Bench?
Relieved, sore, tired, gone.
Mate, well done.
Thank you, down. They are a tremendous side. They've struggled all year. No one gave them any chance. We knew how good a side they are, and they certainly proved it today. To all you Parramatta supporters, all I can say is thanks very much. I've never met anyone as loyal. To all the sponsors of all the rugby league teams, thanks very much. Especially you, Harry Hudson and James Hardy, who have been absolutely fabulous to us. And also to Grouse Whisky, who have looked after the junior representative teams. And thank very much for all the officials, trainers at Parramatta, and a special thanks to an absolute genius, Jack Gibbs.
Robb! G'day, everybody. Welcome to the grand final edition of Not the Footy Show. This is episode 261. I'm Warrick Nicolson, and I've got him on the line once again, Mr. Robb Cox. Grand final time, baby.
Grand final time, mate. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's getting a bit warmer. It means the footy season's almost over, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. We can move into warmer weather and have a bit of an off-season and look forward to it all again next year.
Well, the good news is, we touched on this before, but we've got a World Cup coming up, which is fantastic. But a grand final, Parramatta, Penrith, Stadium Australia, 80-odd thousand people. It's a sellout as of, I think, Monday. No surprises there. Right now, Cocksmith, what do you think the percentage of the crowd's going to be in terms of, I don't mean in terms of like, let's split it completely down the middle. These people are going for Penrith, these two are going for Parramatta. I think what I'm looking at is, what do you think the percentage of supporters of the two teams are going to be there? So that might be 40,000 of the 80, but what percentage of the two teams is going to be for Parramatta and what percentage is going to be for Penrith in attendance?
Oh, mate, in attendance. So what does it hold? 80-odd thousand?
Yeah, so let's say that 40,000. It's not whole ground won't split either way. I'm just saying, in pure Penrith fans, pure Parramatta fans that are there at the game, what percentage do you think is going to be Parramatta? What percentage do you think is going to be Penrith?
I reckon it's going to be 60-40.
To
Para.
To Para?
60-40 Para.
I'm going a little bit higher. I'm going 70-30.
Really?
I have a feeling that the Parramatta fans have been deporting loved ones to get tickets to this kind of game. They are going to be so pumped up. There's so many Parramatta fans out there who have already started telling me that the premiership window is not over yet, thanks Dan Palmer. And I'm thinking, haven't you got to win one for the premiership window to even be open? Getting ahead of themselves a little bit, but I think Parramatta fans are going to show up in just droves on Sunday night. And I think that what you're going to see with the Penrith fans, it's not so much that they don't love their team. It's just they won it last year. They made the grand final the year before. And yes, COVID impacted, one in Sydney, one in Brisbane. But there's just not that urgency that you're going to have from the Parramatta fans in the Penrith fans. So I think 70-30 is about the split. But we both agree Parramatta are going to be heavily represented there on the night. But people are tuning in for some reason, but they're tuning in to find out who we think is going to win. Penrith, Parramatta. Right now, Cocksmith, we get to Friday. We've had a week to digest what has been a pretty tame week of news in grand final folklore. Right now, what are you feeling like in terms of, let's bring up the pressure question again. Does Parramatta displaying any tendencies that the pressure's sitting on them again, especially the players?
I don't think they can help that happening. I think the pressure is on them. No one likes to fail, mate, especially at the last hurdle. So I think the pressure is on them, but I think around 8 to 12 minutes of the game can get rid of those nerves and those little mistakes that can happen. I think once we get a little, 10 minutes or so into the game, I think it'll be business as usual. And Para just have to survive the first 10 minutes, and they should be fine.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because that's what I'd be teaching or drumming into the players. The likes of Gutho and Dylan Brown and Mitchell Moses, the ones that are, well, I guess Moses and Gutho are probably more of the emotional state than Dylan Brown generally is, but it's get through the first part of the match. Let's see where we're at. It's exactly what happened against the Cowboys. Get through that first part of the match, and then let's just play a grand final, rather than playing the grand final out in your head, 17,000 times. And this, I guess, leads me to my question is, I miss the grand final breakfast for one reason, and you can think of what that reason is.
No, do tell.
I love seeing deers in headlights. I love it. and this fan fest thing, I saw a few photos. I didn't see any of the video, but I saw a few photos come through, and everyone looks casual and calm, and no pressure. I'm thinking, no. Get them up at 5 a.m. Get them into the Sydney Intercontinental, whatever it was back in the day, and make them sit through a poorly constructed meal and a whole bunch of long speeches from the sponsors, and see who actually is sitting there going, man, can we just play this game already? I'm just itching to play. Oh, no, the pressure. We don't see that anymore. It's something we miss from that, because that great story of like the late 80s and, Canberra relaxed as anything, and Wayne Pearce and Balmain were on the edge of their seats, and really tense. I don't know. I love that. I love the fact that part of the theatre was part of grand final week, and now it's really not.
Yeah, I think you'll find that Club Power got rid of it, mate, because they didn't like doing it. Neither teams like doing it. But yeah, look, it's a bit of a tradition that's gone, and every year one or two more disappear. And it goes back to our chat last week about New South Wales and Queensland and eligibility for Origin, and kind of committing to Australia or Samoa or Tonga or whoever it may be. Traditions are disappearing, mate. We're living in this kind of world where there's no sharp edges on anything anymore. Around everything out, everything's safe and lovely and cozy and warm and woke. It's lovely.
Let's get some sharp edges out. Let's go to the team changes. Rugby league has a funny way of coming back and humbling you. Whether it's a team that has won heaps of games that fall short at the end of the grand final, or a raging hot New South Wales team in Origin, all those things, and all of a sudden Queensland come back and rugby league just comes back and gets people. Taylor May has been got. Whether it was his decision or not to try and push his suspension to next year, rugby league's got him. It's just found a way to say, well, mate, this is the punishment, and for some reason you're not playing it out when you should have been, and now injuries cost him a grand final spot. It has a funny way of doing things, old rugby league, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Some may say it's a bit of karma. I don't think that he should have been putting his suspension off. I think he should have been suspended. I think that's probably a fitting thing. Unfortunately, now he's going to have to spend the first 2 rounds out next year, but that is what it is, and that's the downside of putting off suspensions. So he's not playing, and Charlie Staines, I believe, is in his position.
Yeah, he gets another chance. He played pretty well in the prelim. The advice that he got, that's all I can think of. Whoever gave Taylor May the advice to try and push that suspension to then. I hope you're sleeping okay.
I'm not sure anyone did give him advice, mate. I think Peter Volandes just took it upon himself. Yep, 100%.
I mean, I don't. It fits the profile. Don't get me wrong. It fits the profile of I will decree everything, and my word is law. But I don't know. I just feel like someone had a little word in his ear. I
don't think so.
The cynic / cheeky one inside me said it was Ivan Cleary, but that's unfounded. That's well alleged.
I don't think so, mate, because he would have been fit to play in the grand final if he had sat 2 games out.
Yeah. So the hamstring that's got him in this game.
The hamstring got him.
The other selection. This is where I know what Ivan Cleary's been doing all year with Jamin Salmon on the bench, and it has bailed him out occasionally in games, having that option on there. But I would have gone Matty Eisenhuth over Salmon on the bench, especially given Parramatta's pack. Are you in agreement there, or what?
Well, I think they know. I think Ivan knows what Parramatta are going to dish up, and they're going to dish up, a big SH1T sandwich to Nathan Cleary and try and put him off his game, and he might get whacked. So I think he wants a half of some description, or someone that can play in the halves on the bench. I probably would have, look, Jamin can play centre, he could probably play winger, he could probably play back rower. So he kind of covers a bit, but he's not that impact back rower like Matt Eisenhuth is. But I think they're planning on very much an assault on Nathan Cleary during his kicking, and anything could happen then. So we'll see. But I probably would have done the same as Ivan and covered my bases there.
Fair enough. There's no other surprises apart from Spencer Leno, who has found the front part of his head, picked it up from Stadium Australia service the other day and put it back on after Tay Mills' effort. He's playing. Apparently can't remember the game, but cleared. And there's no other shocks there for the Panthers. I expect Cleary to once again start Mitch Kenny for Coruscant. Yeah.
I agree, mate. And when I was talking before about, Parramatta have to get through the first 10 minutes, I think Parramatta would love that Api Coruscant was probably not going to be on the field in the first 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
Because they play quite direct and square, and they don't really stretch too much. They don't offer much out of dummy half. So, you can ease your way into a game defensively knowing that the Panthers probably aren't going to chuck too much at you. When I say chuck, they'll take if an opportunity arises. But they're very different with Appy coming out of dummy half, and he really creates havoc there. So, I think you'll see a very safe Penrith for the first 15 to 20 minutes, and then Appy will come on. And hopefully Parramatta aren't into their rhythm by then for Penrith.
What minute are we putting Appy Coruscant on if you're coach?
18 minutes.
I've got
That's
him
when
on.
he's coming on.
I'll have him on. If I was coach, I'd have him on like 11th or 12th. I don't think you waste any time. You just whack him straight in. The first chance you see your team about to go down the field after the first 10, just get him on the field and get him into the attacking situation.
The problem there, mate, is that you may lose a rotation at the back end of the game. So I think it's going to be 18 minutes when he gets rid of the first of his middlemen. Otherwise, you're selling yourself short unless they get an HIA.
Straight in.
He'll be in. But I think you'll see it around about the 18-minute mark.
To be clear, that's what I would do. I agree with you. I think 20-minute mark is probably what he'll do. Cleary, no other change to Penrith, as I say, that's their side. That's the one that's got them through. For Parramatta, no Tom Opacek. The hamstring injury that he suffered against the Raiders has ruled him out of this game as well. So Bailey Simonson, who did not play on the right wing, actually played at left centre, and they kept Wanga Blake and his hands on the wing against North Queensland. He did a pretty good job, Bailey Simonson, so I'm glad that he's held his position here. The only real selection that, at this stage, let's call it, it's a surprise. The recall of Nathan Brown for the grand final. What is the mentality here from Brad Arthur? Is this a super plan, as we may have indicated?
This could be an absolute masterstroke from Coach Arthur.
Yep.
Think about it, right? He's, Nathan Brown's on the list, the poo list, for the last 6 to 10 weeks.
Yep.
Brad brings him back in and says, "Listen, mate, I'm going to give you a shot at winning a ring here. This is what I need from you." And if Nathan Brown's got his head screwed on right, he'll probably do exactly what Brad Arthur wants him to do.
Yep.
Because let's be honest, we both think that Nathan Brown is going to be gone next year out of that team. He's got an opportunity to do one job, and I actually think it's probably a pretty good move. I still don't think having Jake Arthur on the field is a good move.
Yeah.
Because, and I might sound like I'm contradicting myself with what I said before about Jamin Salmon. The big thing is, if Cleary does get injured and has to go off, Luai is a pretty good replacement at halfback. He's basically a halfback that plays 5'8". Dylan Brown is not, if you know what I'm saying. So I think that they would be better off having no halfback than just having Jake Arthur, because I don't think Jake Arthur gives you much at all.
Bryce Cartwright needs to be there. I just think
he's creative.
He's creative. You can put him anywhere. And look, the way I look at it with the Arthur selection is that's your worst case scenario selection. It really is.
Yep.
Whereas Cartwright could help win you the game. If you need a try in the last 15 minutes or last 10 minutes, you put Cartwright on. Something could happen. I don't think Jake Arthur brings that for you. Having said that, I did see a pretty funny tweet from someone. It was shared in one of the old Amco Cup forum that you remember from years back. And it was, what a try from Parramatta. Ball goes through 6 sets of hands, comes back to Papali'i. Papali'i passes back to Gutherson, who finds Jake Arthur, and he scores under the posts. Full time, Penrith 34, Parramatta 4. I enjoyed that one. Although, to be fair, they would have kicked the goal if he scored under the post. So I have faith in that. So it's fake news, that tweet. But yeah, I don't get it. You pick a player who can help you win the grand final at this stage.
Well, they may not kick the goal, mate, because seeing as it's probably going to be his last game, Nathan Brown might have taken the kick for goal and missed it right in front.
Very good. Nathan Brown, I think he plays one stint. He plays a link stint for either either Campbell Gillard or Junior Paulo in the middle there, and he just rips and tears and goes absolutely crazy. I do like Parramatta's bench: Brown, Kafusi, Nicolson, and they'll probably pull the old Madison for Nicolson switch at the start of the game as well. I've been saying this all year, and I'm not saying that they're no good. It's just that I just look at the the name recognition and the possible impact recognition of Penrith's bench versus Parramatta's bench, I give the edge to Parramatta. I just do. But I do love the pack that Penrith trot out for most of the game. So could be a bit of an
To be honest with you, I'd start Nathan Brown with one job: get to Cleary.
I like that.
Got 20 minutes,
and just bench Madison and Nicho and have them both on the bench.
Yeah, I'd just bench one of them rather than start them. And Nathan Brown goes out with one job and one job only, and that's to get to Cleary on his kicks. You know,
maybe Jake Cleary. Arthur can put his hand up for that job.
No, can't. Sorry.
Anyway, no real surprises other than that. Makaheshi Makatoa. Can't say his name. Makatoa. There we go. Got it. He probably is the most unlucky player in this. He's been part of that squad pretty much the whole season and misses out for the last 2 games of the year. So a bit unlucky to him, but he wasn't being used a heck of a lot. So 18th man. Is it going to be Cartwright and O'Sullivan?
Yeah. Yes. O'Sullivan. Yeah. I don't know. I'd see. This is where I'd probably sooner have O'Sullivan at 17, and then Salmon at 18.
I'm with you.
But
O'Sullivan was great this year when he filled in for Cleary. Like, he wasn't just good; he was great. And yeah, he will. However, this could be one of the reasons. And again, they didn't care about reserve grade about 6 or 7 weeks ago, if you remember, Penrith. But they're playing the New South Wales versus Queensland State Cup Championship, and O'Sullivan will be playing that game. I don't know. I'd prefer him on the bench to Salmon, but clearly Cleary is a smarter mind than both of us. Head-to-head, yes. Cox-Smith, it's 25-23 Parramatta. Jerome Luai tried to get some interest in the grand final with a comment last night about being, and let's just pull the quote. He says, "You can call us daddy," apparently Jerome Luai said about the development of players in the West for the Panthers as opposed to Parramatta. He's trying to get a bit of interest into the GF. I'm surprised that it hasn't been as heightened, but I guess I'm not a Parramatta or a Penrith fan. I know that Parramatta fans are just dying for Sunday. But this is the first chance Penrith fans have had to have a real grand final week. I hope they're enjoying it, because at the moment it just feels a little bit subdued. It could be the weather. To be fair, I'm sure they're all having great times out in the Golden West. It's 2-1 Parramatta this season, though, Cocksmith, but the last start, Penrith did do a number on them. Team-wise, I like the 2 matchups. We've got the grand final we wanted. But right now, Cocksmith, we've got to get to the tips. Where are you leaning and why?
Yeah, I don't really look at the 2-1 Parramatta, especially since they won against a 12-man team for, what was it, 65, 70 minutes of the game.
Yep.
So I don't take too much notice of that. I think Penrith win, and I think they win by 14.
Whee. So what? Give me a score with 14 margin if you can, if you can do that math. 28-14. Wow, that's pretty comprehensive. But we haven't got to mine yet. First try scorer.
And I'm going to say kick out.
Woohoo, kick out. He has had a year and a half, hasn't he? And it would be a good way to go out. And Clive Churchill, is it Cleary's just to lose?
No, I think Dylan Edwards.
He does have a lot of momentum behind this. And we did get a Mal Meninga not ruling him out for kangaroo selection. So yeah, I can see it
last go around, mate. Last go around, he had a big game. And last year he was in a moon boot the day before the game. This year he's fresh. I don't believe Penrith have too many injuries going in. If they do, they're not substantial. So almost full strength.
Nice. Okay, so you've got Penrith 28-14. You said you dismissed that second game they played at CommBank when Cleary got sent off. I didn't dismiss one aspect of this match, and that was after Cleary got sent off. Penrith played, and I would argue outplayed Parramatta in the second half of that match. That could have been that could have been an absolute 50-4 job if they'd dropped their bundle. They didn't drop their bundle. Parramatta played within themselves, and for mine, as great as Penrith have been for a couple of years, I watched that, came out of that game with a bit of an extra bit of layer of respect on them, because I went, you could have walked aside and said it's too hard, but you didn't, and you found an extra bit of level of backbone that you didn't need. Like they're defending premiers, you don't need another layer. But this is the thing to me that goes defending your title. It's that kind of pride in that performance that I go, all right. That's why I'm with you, Cocksmith. This grand final, I wanted it to be close. I've been thinking it's going to be close in my dream, but my reality says Penrith are going to win this and they're going to win this well. I've got 26-8 Penrith. I think this is at least a 3-try margin. It could be more. And it's not that I don't rate Parramatta. I think they've got ability. I think they've got a really good forward pack. They can play really well if they get a good start. But Penrith are a really, really, really good footy team. You don't make 3 grand finals in a row without being a quality outfit. And I think Cleary gets Clive Churchill, but if I had to pick someone else, I think you're going to see Api Coruscant do what I thought Reece Robson might do to Parramatta last week. And it's going to be wet on the weekend, Cocksmith. I mean, and to be fair, Stadium Australia is going to be pretty good conditions, as in the ground is well held together, but you can get lead feet, and Coruscant's the kind of player. He's just won the Dally M Hooker of the Year. He's the kind of player that can find space. He scored the first try for Penrith last week to get him back in the game, and it was all about taking advantage of lazy forwards and a good play the ball. He's my Clive Churchill medalist if it's not Cleary. I know that Cleary's the easy choice, but Api Coruscant, Brian Toto to score the first try. I think he is going to stroll over. He plays on the left wing like I expect. I think Wanga Blake's going to have a night that not only he'll want to forget, probably Parramatta fans will want to forget it as well. It's just he's going to get targeted and they're going to find some pay dirt. And I think they'll also find pay dirt out with Sivo. I have real worries about the hands of both Parramatta wingers and their ability to defend kicks. That's why I've got 26 at least for Penrith. That's at least 4 tries. I think that this could disintegrate for the poor old Parramatta Eels. I hope I'm wrong. If you're a Parramatta fan, I've been wrong plenty of times. I just have a really strong feeling about Penrith. The score 26-8 jumped straight into my mind when I was writing the prep for this show, Cocksmith, and I tried to talk myself out of it, but I couldn't. Penrith are going to win this, and they're going to win this well.
I think I think you're right. I think that they embarrassed Wanga Blake a few weeks ago in that first quarterfinal or whatever it was, first round of the finals, and I think they'll go back to that well again, and at least try and make him make 1 or 2 mistakes. They probably won't get as many mistakes out of him this time, but also Sivo. We know Sivo's like the Titanic. He can't turn around. Yep. When they're 25, 30 metres off their line, coming into the 3rd and 4th tackle, Sivo's going to be up in the line, and he's probably going to be running against Staines, who's quite quick, and Staines will go around him. And and Nathan, we know Nathan Cleary can put the ball on a dime. And
well, Nathan's not going to hesitate like Chad did. Let's just say that.
No, he won't hesitate. Look, we could be completely wrong. Things happen in grand finals, but that's the feeling I get. I feel that the momentum is with Penrith. I feel their key players are probably a notch above Para's key players. If it's wet underfoot, Para have a bigger pack, or at least their 2 starting props are bigger. And Api could create havoc around those big blokes. So I guess we'll only know this time, a little bit later than this time on Sunday evening. But I think it's the grand final that most people wanted to see. The Battle of the West and bragging rights for the next 12 months.
Indeed. So you've got Kikau first try. I've got Brian Toto first try. You've got Edwards' Clive Churchill. I've got Coruscant. As we say, it's with the asterisk if Cleary doesn't get it. 28-14 for you, 26-8 for me. And good luck, Para. That's sort of the viewpoint, unfortunately. And I hope we're wrong. For your sake, Parramatta fans, I hope we're wrong. For Penrith fans. Exactly, you're right. The State Cup is Penrith Panthers versus North Devils. This would be a pretty entertaining game. If you go into the game and you want to go and watch some pretty good football, I expect it to be one of the and the State Cup, when it's been played over previous years, has been an entertaining game of footy, because the beauty of the State Cup is that both teams have already played their grand final. In terms of a pressure situation, it's not the same. It's just a bragging's right thing. So the football actually usually is pretty entertaining. So get along to see that. Then the NRLW, Parramatta, who shocked the Roosters last week, they're into the grand final up against the Knights, who have been just quietly very, very good. They've got Upton and Boyle and a few other players. Southwell, the young halfback. Again, I expect Newcastle actually to win this one pretty easily. I think they will take out the NRLW. Where are you thinking on those two games, mate?
I think the Knights will win the NRLW, and I think Penrith will win the Super Bowl of reserve graders.
Yep, I'm with you on both counts. That's the grand final, the halftime entertainment, the pre-game entertainment, fairly Australian influenced. I'm hoping that we get Simply the Best belted out by Jimmy Barnes. That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Dally M was on Wednesday night. Just very briefly on this, they didn't stuff it up this year. I'm very happy with the way it all planned out. You had Nicho Hynes from James Tedesco and Ben Hunt. I'm pretty happy with that, Coxsmith.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I noticed. I did notice an article this morning that I read that it's total BS that some Penrith fans expected Edwards to win it, but the fullback of the year, that is. Mate,
No.
Against Tedesco. I mean, hello. Tedesco's the best fullback.
They won 8 in a row at the end of the year. And yes, Edwards and Penrith won a whole bunch of games, but Teddy was the reason they went from outside the 8 to finishing 5th, didn't they? 4th, 6th, sorry. They jumped.
Won, yeah, and definitely one of the big reasons.
He didn't even get all the votes he probably should have right in the last 3 weeks. You could argue he got robbed. I saw another funny one that said, the Sharks' easy draw was why Nicho Hynes won. No, Nicho Hynes won because he polled in 15 games or something ridiculous. He got 38 votes.
Yeah.
You don't win that if you're not good. I will say this, I still haven't been able to find, and if you can, let us know on Twitter, @NRL Tweet, where are all the votes? Where's the round-by-round breakdown? Seriously, someone, anyone. A little bit of transparency.
Are you smelling a rort?
No, I just don't understand why it's not something that it's bad enough that the telecast doesn't show what everyone actually gets through the whole night. And I couldn't watch it. I just struggle. I tuned in for the last 5 minutes and it's just like, no, and this guy's won. And no, this girl's won. And it's like, well, hang on, where's the build-up? Where's the excitement? No, we've got to wrap up the show because another replay of NRL 360 is coming on at 10:30. Sorry. Just got a little bit of a rant there.
I've watched Dally M's before, and they are the most boring night. I've been to Dally M's, and they are the most boring night you can think of. They start off the night nice and slow, and they tell you the first round or up to round 10. Who cares? You know what? Forget the night. Save yourselves $200,000 NRL, and because that's what it cost to put the night on. Just give them a trophy on grand final day, just before the main game. The winner of the player of the year is blah blah blah. Done. I've just saved you $200,000.
It's moved from Monday night to Wednesday night. I would argue Wednesday night's worse than the start of the week if you're playing in the grand final. I just either do it properly, like the Brownlow does, and actually make it a night where you actually know what's happening, or get rid of this, as you say, get rid of this, lip service version. And it's because it doesn't have the gravitas that it needs. It's condensed. You end up spending more time on awards that aren't important versus the award at the end that is important. And you're like, come on, we want to know, why did Nicho, what games did he all his votes versus the games that he didn't poll in? I mean, my thing is Ben Hunt was leading at round 12, but ultimately made a run in the last 3 games. I don't know what games he actually got votes in. I know that probably wins, but I want to know with Ben Hunt, what games where the Dragons didn't win, did he get votes in? That's the stuff I want to see. Anyway, there's a lot.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't care. I think it's all fluff. I just want to see some footy.
Love a bit of fluff.
I don't care about him.
The top 10 was Hynes.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Hunt, Drinkwater, Edwards, Moses, Cherry Evans, Yo, Grant, and Munster. And Todd Payton won Coach of the Year. Jeremiah Nanai, Rookie of the Year. The final thing as we head off, Coxsmith, the question, I'm bringing it back from the start. We know Penrith are going for 2 in a row, 2 in 3 years. It's 3 straight grand finals. They're in that dynasty conversation. I think they still need to win another one to get into that category, but at this point in time, 2 out of 3 is outstanding. The premiership window for Parramatta, we've been alluding to this the whole final series, that Marnie's going. He's the big loss for them. If they don't win it this year, is the window closed? Daniel Palmer's a Parramatta fan. He asked this question. He doesn't believe it is, and he thinks they can just find players to replace the ones they're missing. They are getting Josh Hodgson next year, and we missed this when we did the pod a few weeks back. We had Mitch Rain as the hooker. Apologies, it's Josh Hodgson. He's actually pretty good. But he's also 33, coming off 2 knee recos.
He's also 50 years old.
Is the window closed for him? Is the question as we leave?
It's close. It's definitely closer to close than open. Reid Marnie is a big loss for them. Is there anyone else going? Can you update me on that?
Not off the top of my head.
Know of? Okay. Other than Nathan Brown. Even though that's not official, I don't think he will be there in 2023.
Yep.
Some people say that doesn't matter.
Oh, Papali'i. Well, if he decides to go.
If he doesn't decide to go, he won't be playing next year, from what I'm hearing. So Papali'i is a big loss, as is Marnie. I think it's definitely shutting up a little bit, the premiership window. I don't think that they're going to be as big a threat next year without those 2 players as they will be this year. But let's not forget, Penrith are losing a couple of players as well in Kickow and Api Coruscant. Pretty big losses.
Yeah, that's the thing. You bang on there. Bang on there.
So maybe next year we might see 2 different teams altogether in the grand final because Coruscant and Kickow are a big loss. So, I think they'll probably want to win this year more than anything to get premiership rings because where they're going, they ain't going to be getting no rings anytime soon. No jewellery coming to them. Nice.
Cocksmith, we've got a minute left on the Zoom. It's been a pleasure as always. People, we will talk about the grand final post-match. I'm not sure if it'll be Monday or Tuesday. We'll try and do Monday if we can, so that way it's somewhat fresh in people's minds. I'll be heading to the game with a few of the family and some friends. Looking forward to sitting under cover in the nosebleeds. At least I won't get wet. That is one upside. But Parramatta and Penrith fans, enjoy your grand final. This is what we wait the whole year for. It's just fun. And you'll be disappointed at the team that loses, but at least you were there, and there are 14 other sides that wish they were. And 15 as of next year, Cocksmith. With the Dolphins, are you getting on the Dolphins train?
No, not on the Dolphins train. They're not coming last. I know that. But I'm not on the train.
All right. Well, speaking of trains, the 2022 Premiership season train is pulling out of the station. It's done. It's dusted. Take us out, Cocksmith.
Toot. Episode.
Off the Footy show.
A long ball. It's gone out there to Lakeland. They're going to score the Dogs. No, it was knocked down at 6 more tackles. 6 more tackles for Canterbury now.
Parramatta out on their feet. Can they hang on for this next 30?
And Big Dunn is tackled. 3 metres out from the line. Dunn to play the ball. Bogdan's the dummy half. He'll go himself, Bogdan. He's tackled. A metre from the line. There's the siren. Parramatta have won the grand final. Parramatta have won the grand final in 1986. Ladies and gentlemen, the 86 season is over. Won by the Parramatta Eels. And that now sets the stage firmly for a right and proper exit from the game of 2 of its greatest men, 2 of its greatest ambassadors, Michael Cronin and Ray Price. Now they can go out if they wish, knowing that they left nothing really undone at Parramatta. The Eels have won the grand final by 4 points to 2. No tries. Kenny was disallowed 2. Canterbury disallowed 1. And look at these scenes of emotion as the Parramatta players hug and embrace one another.
What year is it?
It was brand new.
No. What year is it? Off the Footy show.
You been sleeping over there?
Pepsi.